Good evening. I wanted to talk a little bit tonight about the many uses and the ease of creation of clarified butter. Something I have been hoping to try and soon is to convert my source of primary cooking source of oil to ghee, mostly because of its nutritional benefits. But I thought as a way to start into this, I would learn how to clarify butter and kind of begin my journey there. What I'm going to do tonight means essentially clarified butter is just removing the solids, the milk solids from the butter. And what you end up getting is something like the consistency of an oil. This is olive oil, but it is the same consistency. It'll be kind of clear. And it also creates a kind of a lovely flavor that you really can't compare to anything else. And it clarified butter has a really low or high smoke point, so you can use it really for sautéing. And I saw a man make hash brown potatoes with that with it the other day, and it blew my mind because that makes total sense. That's how you don't burn hash browns, is by using clarified butter. He has some neat tricks in addition too. So where we're going to start here is with a pound of butter. The preference is unsalted, cultured butter, but if you have something, some unsalted sweet cream butter, you could use that instead. If you even have salted, you can use that instead. Just the final product will differ, and your butter won't be really pure. It'll have a lot of sodium into it. So the point of what we're doing here is we're going to cook this butter off. We're not going to really touch it. We're not going to disturb the bottom of the pan as we go. We're going to go for probably about 20 minutes, and it's really kind of the sounds and the smells and the visual cues that you use as you go through this process to know where you're at with the clarification. But eventually what will happen, you're going to go through a stage of, it's boiling, and then all of a sudden it'll foam up, and it looks like it's going to overflow the pan, and then it'll break down or die down a little bit, and then it'll get thicker, and the solids will very noticeably settle on the bottom of the pan, and then some will be floating on the top as well. But clarified butter is cool because it really can keep for a long time. You could keep it really up to 3 months in a sealed container in your pantry. And after that, you could put it in the refrigerator for up to a year even. You'll get a longer life out of it if you keep it in the fridge, apparently. But I think, if you use this often in your cooking, it might be something that you might actually run out of or have to keep track with. At least that's what I'm hoping for my cooking. What I'm going to do is, after we get to the point where it's reached its point where it is ready to go, we're going to strain it off, or strain off all the solids. I just nest a coffee filter in a mesh basket and into a pourable bowl, and then you immediately can transfer that to a mason jar, seal it with a lid. But what I am going to be doing today is freeze it in tablespoon pats of clarified butter. And I'm going to flash freeze this, and then just gather them up, put them in a bag, and seal it. And whenever I make certain things like that require clarified butter, I can just grab it a tablespoon at a time, and it's that easy. But certainly this doesn't take any time at all to do. It's just kind of fun to experiment. But the purpose really is to get all of the moisture out of the butter, the solids and the moisture. That's what clarified butter is. And there are so many other wonderful videos that go into the details behind it. And I am, again, new to it, so we'll see how it goes. But my recipes are all going to kind of convert over to using this instead of a typical butter like this. Another part that's going to offshoot from this plan is actually making butter. I've done it before. Just uncultured butter, but I'm actually going to take it the next step here when the holidays begin, because I would love to have homemade whipped cream, homemade butter, and all of the wonderful things for the Thanksgiving holiday. So I'm going to go ahead and start this off on high heat and get to the point where it's melted and boiling. And I have some National Public Radio on, in the background, hoping that it might be just enjoyable to have some pretty classical music in the background. If I think of something to add to the picture as we go, I'll be happy to add it, but otherwise, enjoy the music and watch how it goes. The other thing with the clarified butter, you can go too far. You can burn it. You kind of want to watch the bottom of the pan as you're going. You don't want to disturb the bottom of the pan because that will make it more likely to burn. But you kind of have to get to the point of to where it will smell like popcorn, and it'll turn a beautiful golden yellow. Here we go. It just occurred to me that you need to be able to hear what the butter's doing so you can learn. So listen to the music here. You want to bring this to a boil, and it's getting there. And mind yourself, because if this spits, that's gonna hurt. So just mind yourself as you go. We're already starting to get some foam, and you want to get this to a rolling bubble, and since it's an oil, it's going to continue getting hot if it's on high heat. So once this kind of gets to boiling here, I'm going to knock this back to medium heat, and I'm going to adjust based on seeing a rolling bubble here. Rolling bubble means you kind of just see it all the way around, and this is not my favorite pan to make this in because it's not even on the bottom with the width, and so there we go. So we're going to just maintain this rolling bubble and cook this for about 30 minutes actually. We're going to adjust the heat to avoid the burning on the pan, and we're not going to stir it necessarily. We're just going to kind of like skim the foam around once it starts getting there, and then we'll just maybe disturb the top layers of the butter. If you've never heard of ghee, it definitely is something to look into, or perhaps consider for use in your kitchen. It does follow the Ayurvedic practices, and it's really known for its nourishment. At least the homemade ghee is known for nourishment. The store-bought, anything that's been processed and stored, really a lot of times the nutrition's compromised. That is such a neat sound. 1 pound of butter, and there it goes. So all these, all this foam is impurities and proteins, proteins in the milk.